Mr. Kamath, you have now given over the running of the operations of the bank to your senior management team, and you've taken on the role of chairman, and that role is now non-executive. Give us a sense of that transition that went through to the point that you felt confident that you could make that transition.
Yeah, I think at ICICI Bank, the process of selecting a successor probably started a couple of years back. What we did was we actually looked at all, I would say, the entire leadership slate within the group, in the bank and in the group companies that we have. And I would say over the last 2 years, measured them on various criteria, various yardsticks. And the cone narrowed as we got to a date where we wanted a decision.
And why did you work towards a date? Was that you having to retire?
So I was very clear that I wanted to step down somewhere past my 60th birthday. And the last 3-year term that I had was going to be over in May. And at that point itself, I was very clear that I'm going to step down at this term and I'm not going to continue. So we had to start the process. I must say that given the turbulence, there were points raised whether this is the right time, but I said this is the right time. We have started a process. I have confidence in the process, and we need to see the process through. So that was the basis on which we approached the thing. We did not want to leave the announcement till the last date. We wanted it to be well in advance, and well in advance was the time frame. We thought maybe about 6 months to 9 months in advance was when I wanted to announce it. I think in the event we announced it probably 6 months in advance, and the process was by then complete.
The choice in the end was no surprise because it was one of your most senior managers in that way. Were you thinking about outsiders as well?
Very early on, we did discuss whether we look at outsiders, but given the strong slate that we had within, I think we stayed with the slate within the bank.
Now, what were your criteria in terms of the person that you finally chose? In this case, it was Chanda Kocha, who became CEO of the bank. What are the skills of a CEO today, which you think is a variation of the skills that you demonstrated during the time that you grew the bank?
I think most of the skills that I would say a CEO would have required to have 10 years back would be relevant today too. But in today's context, there would be probably, if you look at 6 or 7 skills, maybe 2 or 3 would be probably different. And I will enumerate those. The common skills in terms of CEO would be how do you lead? Your ability to think on a, I would say, a wider perspective than
the helicopter view?
Helicopter view, or I would say the ability to think laterally and on a broader basis. I would say a degree of entrepreneurial ability. I think every CEO has to have an entrepreneurial ability. People management skills. I think these are core skills, and I don't think they are, I would say, bread and butter skills. Then in today's context, there are 2 or 3 skills which become critical. I think the ability to judge global shifts, and within those shifts, opportunities. I think the ability to deal with I would say lawmakers becomes enormously important in today's context. The ability to deal with regulators becomes enormously important in today's context in our business. And the ability to deal with media becomes enormously important. So how good a communicator are you? How well can you explain your position to a lawmaker and then build consensus on what you want to do? I think these 2 or 3 areas, I think frankly when I stepped into the CEO position, weren't as important as they are today. And I don't see these getting less important given what we discussed in the last half an hour or so, the global context and what's happening. And we had to give weightage to these skills.
But what about integrity? What about accountability? Aren't they also even more important?
These are a given. I'm making it that these are a given. You don't make the cut.
Right.
And I don't think any of our senior slate would make the cut to be our senior slate if These two are not given.
Were you lucky in that you had
Integrity,
choices?
I think, is a prerequisite to even enter into any reckoning, and accountability that goes with it.
But